Oh, what a great sound. The Time It Takes to Fall. That is Ger Eaton. And we have him on with us via Restream. Hello, are you there, sir?
I am indeed.
Hey,
how are you?
Good. Welcome to the show. Yeah, we played The Time It Takes to Fall, and before that we played I Thought I Had a Friend. And I did warn the audience. I said, these songs are beautiful, and they really are. I love these songs, but they are sad. And we'll get into all of it. But first of all, Ger, am I saying your first name correctly? Is it Ger, short for Gerald?
You are, and I was about to compliment you for that because it's one of the things that has been a revelation to me is how easily you could mispronounce 3 letters. But it has been, I've been called Ger and different things, but now you're bang on. Ger is the one, yeah.
Oh, very, very good. I'm glad. Well, I do cheat when I'm not sure. I look it up because people might not know this, but you can go on YouTube and find out how to pronounce almost anything. You just type in how to pronounce whatever it is. And I do that a lot with names. I'll find a video of someone saying the name so that I try to make sure I get it right. But.
Did that work for you? Is that what you did this time?
That's literally what I did because in the United States, Ger is not a common name. Gerald is a common name. But
well, I suppose my full name is Gerard.
Oh, Gerard.
And I had an American uncle as I would have known him as Uncle Gerard when I was a kid, and he was really good to me. He used to send me over baseball hats and T-shirts and amazing things like that, but obviously there was an Irish connection there as well. But yeah, so he was a Gerard and was American.
I gotcha.
A great guy. Yeah,
I gotcha. Okay, so obviously I want to talk to you about the album Season Changes, and as I did say, it is sad, although probably cathartic for you, I would assume. But this is about the end of a long marriage, correct?
Yeah. I mean, it was written. It began with the first song was "I Thought I Had a Friend." That was the first one I'd written a few years ago, and I had no real kind of idea that it was going to become an album at that point. It was just a song that I felt driven to write at that moment. It was how I was feeling, and I worked with a close friend of mine, Duncan Maitland, who's actually sitting beside me right now, but he's being very quiet.
Oh, hi, Duncan.
And we worked on that together, and I didn't even release it straight away. Sat on it for a while, and then released it. But yeah, I was going through breakup of my marriage, and so that it was a difficult time and a stressful time. Everything's okay now, which is a good end to the story, I suppose. But it drove me to write these songs and in some way create, I think, the best music I've ever done.
Was it, did you find it therapeutic? I always say that when you can take anything, and this comes up a lot on the show, when you can take something that's, traumatic or just very emotionally challenging, whatever it is, if you can create art from it, that's really kind of the best therapy, right? I mean, did you find that with making this album?
I did, yeah, I did. I think you're spot on. I think I'm always a bit kind of... I feel self-conscious about using words like I'm an artist or I'm a, creative, but I've always been a creative person, I suppose. And it's who I am. It's what I am. And I think creative people and artistic people, they always channel everything through whatever that art is. If you're a painter or you're a musician or you're a writer, and it's what you use to deal with happy situations and sad situations and difficult situations. So it was very I'm very proud of it, but it's hard to listen to. I haven't listened to the album since I finished it,
Really? And, interesting.
Yeah, which is interesting. And I watched the documentary, the great documentary about Scott Walker a few years ago, and in it he is saying how he never ever listens to an album after he finishes it. And at that time I remember watching it going, wow, that's crazy, how could he not do that? And I found myself in exactly the same place. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a number of things. You know, you put so much, you listen to it so much when you're making it
Mm-hmm.
at every stage of the way, and then you're never 100% happy with it. You know, I'm really proud of it, but I'm not 100% happy with it. But you never are. You
Right.
don't want to listen back and hear the things that irk you about it. I think is probably what it is. You know.
I've often heard actors say something similar to that. You know, I've heard many actors say, I don't watch my own films. I can't. I've even heard directors say that. So, you know, but yeah, I think it's less common with musicians, and that's why that struck me as surprising when you said that. But I get it, you know, because once it's done, and once it's out there in the world, you know, anytime you go back and listen to it, yeah, it's natural as a creative person to think, you know, maybe I would have done this differently. Maybe this mix should have been different, whatever it is. But,
yeah. And you can't change it at that point. So I think that's exactly it. Once you've signed off on it, up until that point, in theory, you can always change something.
Mm-hmm.
But once you've given the green light that okay, that's it. Now we're going to go with that. You cannot change it anymore. So you don't want to hear something that you wish you could change. And I think that's probably it. Plus, you just move on to the next songs, you know, which I've done, and you know, so that's the other side of it. You just have to move on to the next thing.
And this is, by the way, this is your debut solo album, correct? I mean, obviously, you know, you've worked as a musician for a long time, but this is your first solo album?
Yeah, first solo album. I've been in bands and making music since I was, you know, probably about 15, and I would have released, you know, a few albums with projects of my own where I would have been the singer, but they were always band names.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the first time. And I even feel a little bit, I don't know, it made some kind of an insecurity in me in saying it's a solo album, because I've got so many amazing friends and musicians, you know, Duncan here beside me and everybody else who's played on it with me. So I do feel it's like a collective of musicians, but it is my name on the front, so it is a solo album. I've said it's a solo album. But yeah, so yeah, it's the first solo album, although it's the biggest band I've ever had around me. You know, we launched it with a 14-piece band when we launched the album late last year. So yeah, it's the biggest band I've ever had, and I'm a solo artist.
How daunting is that? Because, you know, obviously, and you know, listening to those two songs, our listeners know just from hearing those that, you know, this isn't just you sitting down with an acoustic guitar. You know, this is a lush production, to say the least.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's the other thing that's been really, it's been a wonderfully, the last couple of years for various reasons, obviously the personal stuff I was going through, but just as a musician, I faced a lot of fears for myself, which included going on stage on my own with my guitar, mm-hmm. which was always a fear I had and something I ran a mile from for years and years and years. But I faced that fear, and I do that now, and I do it with still a little nervousness, but I look forward to it. Mm-hmm. I've done it with just my flautist, which sounds very, very posh. We've done gigs just the two of us. We've done it as a trio with double bass as well. We've done it with up to the 14-piece. So we've done about everything, and so I've become very comfortable with reworking the songs. I'm not a backing track person, and never would be. And people would say to me, you know, when you hear the strings on the album, oh yeah, you could have the strings on backing tracks, and I'm like, no. If the gig isn't big enough for the string section, we do it a different way. You know, songs can live and breathe in many different ways. I think the emotion in the songs and the passion in the songs is what makes them, for me, makes them special for me. And you hope that makes them special for the audience member too. And I know backing tracks work for some people, but as a musician, I'm always very conscious when I go to see somebody. If there's backing tracks up, my ear goes to that, and mm-hmm. I go, "Ooh, who's playing? I can't see anybody playing that. What's going on?" And then once I've twigged that, I think it just sort of taints the whole experience for me a little bit.
Sure.
So I would never do that. Yeah, it's like, so I do it sometimes on my own, and but I love doing it. The most recent gig in Dublin we did with a quartet, string quartet, flute,
Yeah.
and then Duncan was on piano and 12-string guitar, and then I was on 6-string guitar for some of the songs, and that was a beautiful way of doing the songs as well. It was that felt very special too, you know.
Yeah, I would imagine it's kind of liberating to be able to perform these songs in different configurations. Yeah, you know, because you mentioned backing tracks, and some artists do try to do that, especially, you know, arena acts who want to try to replicate what's on the record as closely as possible.
Yeah.
But I've always looked at it, and I don't have any objection to that. Some people have an actual ethical objection to that. I don't personally, but I've always looked at it as, you know, if I go to see you live and you're not able to reproduce what's on the record, and because, you know, you're not using backing tracks and you don't have all these people on stage with you, and so what ends up coming out is something a little more stripped down, maybe more raw, you know, whatever. That's cool to me. I like that. I don't need to hear exactly what's on the record. I want that live experience, however you choose to bring it forth. You know what I mean?
Exactly, yeah. And I've liked the idea recently on the gigs that we've done, that I kind of feel I want every time we do it to be a different experience for people, so that they don't feel like they're just getting the same gig each time they come along, that, you know, that they will go away and go, God, I equally enjoyed that with the smaller lineup, or as I did with the bigger lineup, and knowing that the next time there's a gig, they'll go, God, we're going to go again, because what way is he going to do it this time? You know, we don't know what it's going to be each time we go, and I like that idea, you know. But when it comes to backing tracks, I love that the one playing with backing tracks that I love is Keith Moon, when he played with the Who way back. I don't know what era that would have been, when he was trying to play along with
O'Reilly.
Bob O'Reilly. Yeah. That's crazy. And they were pumping it through headphones. Keith Moon trying to stick with a backing track is just the funniest thing to watch. It's never going to happen,
right?
But yeah, that's I find that was acceptable.
Now I have to ask you this regarding the album Season Changes. You've probably been asked this. I assume it seems to me like an obvious question. But has your ex? Do you know if your ex has heard the album?
Yeah, no, we're still on great terms with each other. You know,
good.
We're yeah. So no, everything is cool in that way. So yeah, no, she has. She's come to see me perform. Only recently, I did a little festival here last weekend, and she was watching me doing about a half an hour set of the songs. So yeah, no, it's all good. I mean, like I think what I've said in other chats about it, as much as it's an album about the breakup, but there's no malice or venom or anger in it. I think it's regret, and it's acceptance, and you know, thinking about the kids and how they would feel, and it's about those sides of things. It's not an angry. There's no blame being thrown around, you know. Mm-hmm. So if it was that kind of an album, you know, one, we wouldn't be talking to each other, and two, I don't think you'd sit and listen to that if it were, you know. So no, it's not. I don't know how she feels, you know, listening to them, but yeah, no, we're in a good place, yeah.
Good. No, that's good to hear. Excellent. And by the way, so you call this? I was reading. You call this Renaissance pop, and I'm curious what does that term mean to you?
Well, I suppose, you know, Baroque pop will be a term that is much more kind of used for music, like what we've done with the record in a way. A Baroque pop is normally just pop music that uses classical instruments and so on. But for me, Renaissance is like, the whole Renaissance movement would have been about rebirth and trying to do something new with something old, I suppose.
Yeah.
It just seemed like a term that made more sense. I mean, Baroque music to me as I'm dabbling in more of that kind of stuff, but the current stuff I'm doing weirdly. But yeah, Baroque music, it's a different kind of form of music. So I don't know, Baroque pop maybe just rolls off the tongue better, but Renaissance pop, I just thought I needed to create my own genre, you know?
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That makes sense. And it is, like I said, you know, the production is very lush, and it's got a sound that, well, you certainly don't hear on American radio. I don't know about there, but, you know, here, you know, it's unlike anything that I've heard recently. And it's really, it just kind of pulls you in because there's so much going on, and just sonically, it's just so interesting. So, and I'm also curious about the recording process of this, because I would imagine it must have taken a while to do this, again, because of the complexity of the production. It's not just you with an acoustic guitar, or it's not just you playing in a punk band. There's a lot of moving parts here, obviously.
Yeah.
How long did it take to make this album?
Well, it took a while, but it took a while for different reasons. I mean, probably mostly back to what I said earlier on, where you know, I wrote the first song and we recorded that. I had no plan to make a full album at that point, so it did kind of happen song by song, to be honest with you. So like we did the first song, then we recorded Hollow, and again the first song was me and Duncan. The second song we brought in another friend of ours, Sean Coleman, who is from Virginia in the US there, and he's he just does a lot of the kind of studio stuff. He's an incredible musician. He's part of the big live band as well. So there became three of us, and then on the next song we brought in the brass, and so it kind of grew. So the musicians and the vision, I think, grew as we went along. So it took longer because of that, mm-hmm. I think, really. Whereas now, with what's going to be the second album, I think I've pretty much got it written, because all the musicians are already there, and I know we've got the string players, we've got the brass players, we've got the woodwind players. So this time it'll be a lot quicker. First time it was a growing and expanding project as we went, so I think that's why it took longer. But yeah, you know, it's all recorded by ourselves, you know, in either our studios. The only time you used anywhere that wasn't our own, I think, was with the string quartet, because we just needed a little bit of space.
Sure. We
went to a friend's studio that had let us use the space there. Everything else is done in our own, you know, either my house, Duncan's house, Sean's house.
Okay.
So yeah, so it's a big sound, you know, and we work combination of some onto tape, some onto you know, onto computer, depending on. So we combine the formats. We like to use tape as much as we can, where practical, and yeah, so it's fun. I think we enjoy all of the main people involved. I think we're all of the same vintage, and we love the same music, and we're influenced by the same sonically as well, with the same kind of artists. So it's very, the direction is kind of understood, so right. It's an enjoyable process, you know.
And by the way, for listeners who might not be, you know, I'm enough of a recording nerd, I think I know the answer to this, but for listeners who don't, when you talk about using tape, I assume that's because you want the warmth, which you definitely capture on this album, yeah. but you want the warmth that comes with tape versus digital in terms of the sound.
Yeah, there's the warmth certainly is the main thing, and then also I think the focus on getting the take and the performance, rather than, you know, the thing with digital is the editing possibilities, and you could sing something 20 times and pick words from each bit and pull them all together. There's something about the focus of trying to get a take as entire as possible. And I think all artists that use tape will kind of voice that it kind of focuses them to really try and capture something in that moment, because it's better the more you can get down in single takes, the better,
Right, absolutely. And then so you're already working on the next one. What's the next album about?
The next album is currently it's a pretty dark sounding record. I think it's going to be called Mask. That's an exclusive now. I've just told you that.
Yeah,
we're about to start recording. Again, towards the end of making the first album, I met he's become a great friend now, and Andrew Keeling is his name, and he's an orchestrator and an arranger, and he heard the title track "Season Changes" when we released that, and just made contact with me online. He really liked what we were doing, and he's worked with people like Robert Fripp and orchestrated with him and stuff. And so he's become a really he plays flute now when I do just duo gigs. It's me and Andrew. So he's come on board. So as I've been writing now, he's just been orchestrating the strings as we've gone. So that's why it's much quicker this time, and I'm really ready to get started recording.
Yeah,
but it is quite dark. It's quite a dark. I think it's dealing with a lot of the idea of the mask for me is it's just that feeling of the exterior image that we give outwardly, and the real what's really going on, for all of us. I suppose we are in a world now where everything from social media to, I'd be very cynical about that stuff. What people put up. Somebody puts up a post about their amazingly happy family life, and all these wonderful photographs. Probably the opposite is true.
Right.
Maybe not. Maybe there are a lot of happy people out there. But yeah, I think it's kind of looking, somewhat at that kind of side of our personalities, and so yeah, I think there's some great songs on this second record. I'm excited to get it done. I want to do it quickly. I want to record it more like a batch of, like how albums should be recorded, where the songs are all written and then we start recording, rather than first one was one song at a time. I'd rather feel like got all the songs and let's go. So I think that's where we're going to be. Right.
No, that makes sense. Yeah, no, I can't wait to hear it. And like I said, I love the current album, of course. Season Changes. In a moment, Ger, we're going to let you go, and it's been wonderful to talk with you. But I want to ask you, well, two things. One is, what song? I'm going to put you on the spot here. What song from the album should we play at the end of our conversation? I'm going to let you pick. I would. Is it going to close your show, or no? It won't be closing the show. It's going to close our segment, yeah, but not the full show. probably the title track. I think that it's the title track. I mean, it's a long track, so I don't. Oh, that's fine. Ger is frozen. I'm looking over at the screen, and not only do I not hear him, but his picture is frozen. So we might have to end it there. Well, I'm gonna keep talking. We'll see if he unfreezes. But yeah, he is completely frozen on my screen. But the album is called Season Changes. It is on Bandcamp, by the way. And if you're a regular listener of the show, I'm a huge proponent of Bandcamp. Love Bandcamp. It's very artist friendly. I'm glad this happened at the end of our conversation, at least with Ger, because I've really enjoyed Ger. I got to get used to saying that. See, that's not in America. I've never met anyone with that name. Just Ger, short for Gerald or Gerard or Jared, I think is how he said it. But anyway, Ger Eaton. The album is on Bandcamp, but of course you can look him up online. Just Google him. Again, Ger is spelled G-E-R, and then of course Eaton, E-A-T-O-N. Check out the album, Season Changes. I listened to the whole thing, and it's really, really great. But yeah, we'll go ahead and we'll give this a spin. We'll listen to the title track. And Ger, I don't know if you can hear me. I cannot hear you. As I said, you are completely frozen on the screen, but thank you so much. Or if you listen to this later, thank you so much for joining us today. This has been wonderful. If you are listening live on Saturday, stick around. I think the guys from the Melted Chapsticks have arrived, and they will be joining us in hour number 2, Numero Dos. So we have plenty more to go today on this Saturday morning here on Matt Connarton Unleashed, live from the studios of WMNH 95.3 FM in glorious Manchester, New Hampshire. Here it is, the title track from the album Season Changes by Ger Eaton.